We watch the sun go down over the same old town, like so many times before. We look at the same old stars, battle the same old wars, like so many times before. And I know that we're not perfect.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. My name is Amy and I am on a financial freedom journey with my family. I share every single week Debt-Free Friday and I share our financial goals, so what we're currently working on, and we send money to our goals every single week. I know that's kind of a non-traditional way of doing things, but it has helped us so much. It helped us pay off 6 figures worth of student loan debt, and it has helped us to continue the with our emergency fund and just continue our goals. And I feel like it's been instrumental in us not just reaching debt freedom and then stopping, because I feel like that's really common to like get to debt freedom and then just stop and just kind of like coast the rest, the rest of your years, just kind of coasting along and spending all your money. So it has been really awesome for us to continue this practice of sending money to our goals every single week. So I have a lot to go over today. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. I feel like I haven't been able to sit down and talk for a long time. I apologize. I already see some shadowing. I'm actually filming this at night because I wanted to be able to set aside more time to film it. So I normally film these during the day when I have better lighting, but I know I just wanted to have like an unlimited amount of time to be able to just sit down and chat because I have so many things that I want to go over. So first of all, if you guys watched my video last week, I talked about our home fund goal. So if you guys have been watching Debt-Free Friday at all this year, we've been working towards a house fund, and we actually purchased a house last month in August, the end of August. So I was kind of tossed up on what to do about it. And I don't think anybody said that I should keep it going. I think everybody said to reset it and just start over with a new goal. So that is exactly what I'm doing. That is kind of what I was leaning towards doing anyway, but I feel like I was having trouble kind of letting that goal go because I really thought maybe we'd be able to finish it, but it's okay. We're going to let it go. We're going to start fresh with a new goal. So that is the first order of business I wanted to talk about. Secondly, I'm also going to talk about how we spent our house fund. So stay tuned to probably the end of this section, and I will talk about that. That was another thing that was highly requested, was to talk about what we spent our house fund on. So we spent many thousands of dollars. We drained it completely, basically to zero, and actually went a little bit negative at one point, but I will talk about that. And then the other thing that I wanted to talk about was student loan forgiveness. That is not something I've talked about on YouTube, I don't think yet. I have talked a little bit about it on Instagram. I was kind of trying to sort things out and figure out what I was going to do and how that process worked before I spoke about it on YouTube, because I do try to kind of bring things here that are more like finished product and like that I actually know what I'm talking about. Instagram is more of kind of like a daily diary of mine, and YouTube I feel like is a little bit more polished. I mean, my videos aren't really anything special, but I feel like I try to bring more of like a complete picture to YouTube. So that's why I did not speak about it yet, but I'm going to talk about it now because I do kind of have an update. So if you guys have followed me for a while, we paid off about $120,000 of student loan debt between January of 2020 and December of 2021. So for about 2 years, it took us to pay off $120,000. So some of my loans initially were private loans. If you guys have followed me for a while, you probably know that already, but we had about, I think it was $35,000 of that was private, and then the rest was federal. So I had starting like about $90,000 of federal student loans. So anyway, the majority of our federal student loans were paid off after the COVID forbearance in March of 2020. So when they announced the student loan forgiveness, it was definitely something that was top of mind for me to look into, because I did hear that there was a possibility of getting a refund. So I called Great Lakes a couple of weeks ago, like a few days after that announcement was made, after I had kind of looked into things myself, and I requested a refund of $10,000 worth of my payments. I would qualify according to the rules that they have currently published. I would qualify for $10,000 worth of forgiveness. So I requested $10,000 worth of refunds of my payments. And the first time that I called, my loans are serviced through Great Lakes. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. That's kind of important too. So I called Great Lakes and I asked them, like, do I qualify for this? Can I get a refund? Because my student loans are actually closed out. They're completely paid off. So my account is not even active anymore. It's a zero balance. There's nothing open anymore. It all shows like closed account. So yeah, I asked them like, what do I do? Can I even do this? And the first time that I called, they seemed skeptical that I would actually be able to get a refund for it. So I decided to kind of table it, and then I called the next week. And the next time that I called, I feel like they may have had a little bit more information, and they did tell me that they would try to refund them and that I would hear something within like 4 to 6 weeks, that they were really backlogged because everybody was calling. Of course, you know, like a lot of people probably had paid off student loans during this time. So that's kind of where it sits. They are currently, they say, processing my $10,000 worth of refunds to my account. They told me that it would be refunded. If it's able to be refunded, it would be refunded to my checking account that I paid my student loans through. So I have not gotten anything yet. My balance is still zero. I have basically seen nothing. So I guess it's an update, but not really an update. So sorry if that's not exactly what you're looking for, but I am trying to get the refund because I feel like, why not? I worked really hard to pay off my student loans, and I feel like if I can get the $10,000 back, then I would like to do that for my family. But if I can't, I still have zero regrets about paying it off. I would never say that I regretted that. And I know that I've talked about that a lot on this channel. I've been asked that a lot before, if I regret paying them off, if I wouldn't have been able to get refunded, and absolutely not. I have no regrets about our debt-free journey at all. But again, if I can get it, I can get it, and that would be awesome. So as of now, I'm not doing anything. I will, even if we get the money refunded, I'm going to let it sit in our savings account until my loans are officially zero again after they put the $10,000 back. Yeah, that's kind of my plan. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are in the same situation or if you have requested a refund. I would be interested to hear, especially if you are serviced through Great Lakes, what they told you. I've been hearing different things from different people, so I don't know if it's, I'm skeptical. I'm not gonna lie. I'm nervous. I'm skeptical. I feel like it might not happen. I don't know. I don't know how to feel right now. But if we do get the $10,000 worth of forgiveness, if we get that money refunded to us, and if my loans are zeroed out again, we will most likely be putting that money into the 3 of our kids' college funds. I kind of talked about it with my husband, and we were like, what do we do with this money? We weren't really planning on having $10,000, which is an incredible, amazing thing to have happen to you, right? Like, I'm so grateful that that's even a possibility for us. And we kind of just discussed it, and we were like, well, we could just put it in our kids' college fund, kind of split it evenly between the 3 of them. And I'm kind of leaning towards doing that. I don't know. We haven't really been able to put a lot into their savings for their college funds, and I feel like that would be a great little like nugget to be able to put in there. I thought about maybe doing 50-50, maybe putting like 50% into our emergency fund to make it a little bit higher. I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys would do if you were me. If you are getting $10,000 back, what are you gonna do with it? I would be interested to hear. So that's my little update on the student loans. So let's go ahead and get into Debt Free Friday, and then we'll talk about how we spent our house fund. I hope you guys got a snack because I feel like this video is gonna be really long. So let's go ahead and get into it. So again, I did reset. This is basically a new sinking fund that I made. I have zeroed out our home fund. It is gone. It is not existent anymore. There was a little bit of money from last week that we had sitting in there that I basically just dispersed into other sinking funds for right now. That's just the way that I decided to do it. I wanted to start completely at zero and just completely restart. So home maintenance fund, we're starting at zero. Our goal for the rest of this year is $5,000. I feel like that's a really good amount. I know I read a comment from my video last week that said that 10% of your home value is a really good amount of money to have set aside for home maintenance, and I feel like that's great. So 5,000 is just kind of a rounded off number that I felt like was achievable for us to get to from September to December. Might be a little bit of a stretch goal, but we'll see. Kind of depends on how our income goes. So we started this week at $0 because I did reset it completely to zero, and we were able to send $700 this week to this goal, which means our ending is $700, and that leaves us at 14%. So that's another thing that I love about smaller goals, is that it just goes so much quicker. It's just so nice to see really fast progress again. So left to save for this goal is $4,300. Then we also worked on our Roth IRA this week. So we started this week at $1,830, and that was at 30%. This week we sent $100, and that leaves us with a total of $1,930, and that's at 32%. And our left to save is $4,070. So we are so close to being over $2,000 in our Roth IRA. If you watched my video last week, we're basically using September to kind of jumpstart our home maintenance fund, and then we will switch to really focusing on the Roth IRA for October, November, and December to just finish it out. And I know I did get some comments last week that were like, you guys have till April of next year to fund this, but I'm like a calendar year person. I would just prefer to have the 2022 Roth done and funded in the year of 2022. I know that technically we have more time, and if something were to happen and we couldn't finish it, I would definitely continue this goal into next year if we needed to, but I don't see that happening. I think we'll be able to finish it. So that's our plan for now. Side hustle income for this week, we just had one source of side hustle income for this week, which was $676 from Etsy. So not too much to discuss there. I know you guys have been so patient and amazing with me. I work full-time. I'm sure some of you guys know that, some of you guys don't. If you're newer to my channel, I work full-time. I work in human resources, and this time of year is my crazy busy season at work. So it has been a struggle for me to juggle work and kids and YouTube and trying to post and Instagram and all the things. Like, I feel like I'm being tugged in like 85 different directions, trying to have a social life, trying to exercise, like all these things. I know you guys can relate. I know we're all busy people, and it's just a really busy time of year for everybody, I feel like. So thank you so much for being patient with me. I am going to try to continue to post videos, but I can't promise that I'm going to be posting at like my regular times or even maybe my regular days. So just as a disclaimer, if I'm missing for a little bit, it's probably because life got crazy and busy, and I appreciate you guys being patient. So let's go ahead and go over how we spent our house fund. So I'm just gonna pull it up on my computer here because I broke it all out for you guys, because that was a huge question we had, was what we spent this money on. I don't have this put into like a really nice order. I'm sorry. I meant to like sort this by cost, but it's just kind of in a random order that I pulled from our savings account from all of our transactions, which was like, all in and of itself was a lot because there were so many different transactions. So let's go ahead and get started. What did we spend our house fund on? So if you guys watched my video last week, we ended up having about almost $14,000 in this sinking fund at some point, and we've kind of just been dwindling it. Oh, my laptop is falling, sorry. Real life. Okay. We ended up spending, money in and out of this account a lot over the last few months because things kept popping up for moving and all these different costs. So first, we spent, and again, this is not in any sort of order, so this is probably a little bit confusing, but it's just the order that I wrote it down in. So we spent $2,010 on movers, which I feel like that seems like a lot, and it is a lot. But we hired really amazing movers. They were highly, highly recommended. We got a couple of different quotes from different companies, and they were actually the highest quote. And I feel extremely privileged that we were able to hire movers, because this is the first time we've ever been able to afford it, to be completely honest. So yeah, we splurged on the movers, and I have zero regrets. They were absolutely incredible. We had nothing broke. Nothing broke at all, not a plate, nothing. Literally everything was perfect. They were super fast. They moved our entire home in about 7 hours. Actually, maybe even less. It was like 6 to 7 hours. Yeah, they were just, it was everything I could have asked for. So no regrets on that. We also did tip them on top of the charge. So I tipped them $50 each. So that was also an additional amount. And then we also did get a U-Haul trailer as well. So that's also included in this amount, is the U-Haul trailer that we got. We got a U-Haul trailer because we needed to move some things that we just didn't want the movers to move. So like my house plants and our photos and anything breakable. So I moved all of our own picture frames and things like that, and our safe with our paperwork in it and stuff like that we just didn't really want the movers to move. So this is everything basically we spent on moving. So yeah, $2,000. It was expensive, but we hope we don't have to move anytime soon within the next 10 plus years. So I think it was money well spent. And again, it's not money that we spend often, so it felt like it was worth it. Then we spent about $200 on moving supplies. This is just like miscellaneous items that we bought for moving. So like I bought a new tape gun, we bought bubble wrap, and we were very lucky to get gifted a lot of boxes, but we did buy some boxes. So that's in this amount as well. We bought a box for our TV. So that was like $40, which what? I don't know. It was at Home Depot. And obviously our TV is very expensive. And so we wanted to move it properly. So we spent the $40 on the TV box, which my husband was like, why are we spending this? But you know, it is what it is. So $200 on moving supplies, just miscellaneous things. And then we also spent $500 on an appraisal. So when you're buying a house, I feel like things just pop up out of nowhere. So we ended up having to pay $500 for the appraisal on our new house. So I think this is something that technically we could have wrapped into our closing costs, but we ended up just paying it out of pocket because we had the opportunity to do so and we had the money set aside. So we just paid it out of pocket instead of at closing. I know it's a very common thing to pay at closing. Then we also paid $750 for homeowners insurance. Again, this is another thing that I feel like is very common to be a closing cost instead, but we just ended up paying it out of pocket. That's just how we did it. Obviously, if you want to wrap that all into closing costs, that's probably easier, but we had the opportunity just to pay it outright, and we just decided to do that because we had this money set aside. So homeowners insurance for the year was $750. And then if you guys have never bought a home before, we are escrowing our homeowners insurance and our property taxes. So for next year's homeowners insurance, that will come out of our escrow account and we don't have to pay that. So it's basically like a one-time fee when you're buying a home to pay the first year ahead of time, or at least that's how it's done here. Not sure if that's how it's done everywhere, but that's how they do it here. And then we also had to pay $120 for garbage and recycling. So this was actually for like the cans. I don't know. We didn't have to pay this at our old house, but I think it's since it was a new build, they did not have garbage cans or recycling cans. So we had to pay like a fee to get those delivered. And then, yeah, I don't know. It was kind of a random thing, but we paid it. So there it is. Then we also paid $4,100 for our rate lock. What am I oh my gosh. Sorry guys, it's late. I can't write right now. Our rate lock. So we locked in our rate a few months ago. We did like a longer term rate lock. As soon as we kind of heard that things were starting to increase, we decided to go ahead and lock our rate. Our lender allowed us to do so, but we did have to pay $4,100 to lock that rate. So yes, we did get some credited back to us at closing. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but we did get that credited back to us. So we ended up locking at 4.125%, which at this point is an amazing rate. It's actually a lot higher than our rate on our old house though. We were at 3% on our previous house. So it's a little bit higher than our previous rate for our mortgage, but it's in comparison to what you can get right now, this second, it is a really good rate. So I'm super happy that we ended up doing that. It was definitely worth it. And like I said, we did get some of this credited back to us at closing. I don't remember exactly how much, but it was like a few $1,000s that we got, ended up, it basically like we had to pay the rate lock up front and then we got a credit back. So it kind of washed out to like a few $1,000s. So we had to pay that. Then we had to pay $70 in wire fees. So this is for 2 wires that we had going in and out. Yeah, this was just fees that hit our account. We had a wire fee for an incoming wire from when we sold the house. We had a wire fee from an outgoing wire when we bought our house and had to wire the money to the title company for our new house. So we had $70 in fees. Then we had about $1,500 in Amazon. So these numbers are all rounded off because I didn't feel like totaling up every single penny and dime. So about $1,500 was basically on Amazon. It wasn't completely Amazon, but I'm just gonna write that. It was like miscellaneous furniture, little things that we wanted to buy. Like I bought a cube organizer from Target for one of our closets, and we bought a new entertainment center and a couple of other random things, like some organizational things. So it adds up really fast, and we spent about $1,500 on like just random stuff for the house, which is crazy. But that's why I wanted to share this though, because I feel like all of these things they just add up so fast. Like, you don't even think about it, but it's like, it's so expensive. So then the last, not the last thing, but the second to last thing is $100 for our internet. So we had to pay a fee for them to come hook up our internet. I don't know if this was because it's a new build or what, but I don't remember paying this in the past for internet hookup, but we had to get like all lines put in and stuff. So I don't know if it was because it was a new build or what, but again, we just had to pay $100. So that came out of this fund as well. Technically, it was like part of our first bill, but I took it out of here because I didn't want to change our like regular budget. And then the last was about $5,000 just went to cash to close. So we just ended up basically emptying out the account and then rounded it up, which is why I went negative, to just put towards cash to closing. So if you guys are familiar with my channel, we have one savings account, and that houses all of our savings, all of our liquid money that is outside of our checking account. So it has our emergency fund, all of our sinking funds, our house fund, everything that isn't invested or in our checking account. And so that's kind of why it got a little murky, because we had like all this money coming in, all this money going out, and then it was like getting confusing. So we ended up taking approximately $5,000 as additional down payment / cash to close. Some of it went to closing costs, some of it went to a down payment. We had a down payment in mind. We basically rounded up the amount that we got from the sale of our house to a round number, and then that's what we ended up putting down, and then the closing costs. So yeah, that's what we spent it on. That's it. I mean, it's a long list, but you know, it totals up really fast. So the total of that is about $14,350. So yeah, that's where we spent our house fund. It's gone. We've moved on. We're now funding our house maintenance fund, and I feel really good about that decision. I feel like you guys were spot on as always. You guys are like so awesome and just so helpful to me, and always like just give me clarity on my decisions. I was already leaning towards just resetting it, and then all of you guys chiming in and saying like, please reset it, this is a good idea, just made me feel good about the decision. So starting a new goal, really exciting. Thank you guys so much for watching this really long part of the video. I'm gonna go ahead and color in my trackers, and then I'll come back to close out the video.
But I'm gonna miss all that we had. Yeah, I know that we're not perfect, but I need this night for the last.
All right, so that is all I have for you guys for this week. I'm so sorry. I actually was trying to print out a new house fund tracker to color in, and I actually couldn't get my printer to work. So I will try to print that again tomorrow so that I'll have it for next week. But yeah, I will then fill in this week, next week, if that makes sense. I don't know what's going on with my printer, but it does not want to work tonight, so that's all right. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully this wasn't too long. I know I was chatting quite a bit about a lot of different things, so thank you guys for hanging in there. If you watched the whole thing, thank you so much, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye, guys.